Museum of Herzegovina in Trebinje. The museum was founded in 1952 under the name of the County Heritage Museum Trebinje. In 1994 it was named into the Museum of Herzegovina Trebinje, and as of 2001 it was called the Matrix Museum Institution Museum of Herzegovina Trebinje. The museum is placed within the old city walls, on the highest elevation of the right bank of Trebinje River. As of 1989, the museum complex is comprised of archaeological site of the old city of Trebinje with the remains of a medieval palace, a building of the former Austrian-Hungarian barracks of 1904, later of the high school, and nowadays the museum's main building, 2 stone buildings, a building of the former Austrian-Hungarian pigeon post, a clock tower, a bell tower, and a yard. The museum building takes up 1,500 square meters of space, out of which the exhibition halls, with all accompanying content, take up 800 square meters. There are 7 permanent setups in the museum: archaeological setup, the legacy of Jovan Dučić, ethnographic setup, memorial exhibition of pictures by Atanasije Popović, historical setup, city house, natural history setup, and legacies of painters Milena Šotra, Milorad Ćorović, Mirko Kujačić, Ksenia and Vladimir Gacinović, and Radovan Ždrale. In the museum's ground floor, there is a gallery. There are organized occasional exhibitions, promotions of books, literary evenings, concerts of chamber music, and other events. Moreover, there is also a specialist library with books and publications from various fields of science and art. Permanent setup of the archaeological department. The setup is divided into 3 sections. Prehistorical section. There are displayed flintstone knives from the Neolithic period, accidental findings from the villages of Orahovac, Lastva, Panik and Ljubomir, ceramic vessels, import from the Greek emporia on the Adriatic Sea, as well as tomb offerings made of metal, bronze needles of M and omega type, pins, bronze and silver fibulae decorated by engraving and puncturing, silver twisted double-sided hairpins, bronze beads, beads made of amber and glass paste, iron swords and crooked knives from the periods of Metal Ages, from Illyrian fortifications, hill forts and tumuli, the 5th century BC, 5 bronze warrior helmets, silver bracelets ending in snake-head shapes, silver, iron and bronze fibulae, bronze clasp, iron spears and knives from Illyrian tombs in Kachanj near Bileća. Antique section. There are displayed epigraphic memorials, tombstones, a tombstone from Publius Appius, decurion of the Municipium Dilantum, Stolac, found along the Roman road route between Narona, Vid, and Lusinium, Panik. Sarcophagi and milestones with inscriptions, one erected during the reign of the Emperor Claudius, 47 or 48 AD, and another from the times of the Emperors Valens and Valentian, found along the route of the road between Epidarium, Cavtat, and Anderby, Nikšićko Polje. Fragments of the floor mosaics, of fresco painting, of the floor and roof bricks, of ceramic and glass vessels, as well as of the jewelry, bracelets made of glass paste, a fibula, bronze cuffs, from the site of Panik, Lusinium. Medieval section. There are displayed findings from the periods of early Christianity, pre-Romanic and medieval periods, stone plastics, church furniture with Croatian Trinity knot from Zavala between the 9th and 11th century, tombstones, an inscription of Grdo, the prefect of Trebinje, carved in the middle of the 12th century, and inscription of Pribilša, the prefect of Trebinje, carved in 1241 from Police near Trebinje. Movable archaeological material, tomb offerings, a glass cup from Veličani between the 14th and 15th century, rings, gilded spur of prefect Grdo, warrior equipment, and findings from the medieval town of Mičevac, weapons, stone cannonballs, iron arrows, blades, shackles, fragments of ceramic bowls, majolica, glass and silver coins. Along with the original items from the collections, there are displayed reprint editions of Miroslav Gospel and plaster casts of the medieval tombstones, marble stones, medieval monumental tombstone monolith called Stečak. Permanent setup of the Ethnological Department. Ethnological setup of the Museum of Herzegovina represents both rural and urban lives in this area between the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th. Most of the exhibits belong to the basic activities that the population of East Herzegovina was engaged in, such as agriculture and cattle breeding, hunting and fishing. Along with the exhibits made of wood, there are also displayed items made of metal and fabric. In one part of the permanent ethnological setup, there are placed parts of traditional Herzegovina costume. Models present mills where grain was ground. Mills typical of Trebišnica River are pit mills. Trebišnica used to be the longest losing stream in Balkans. Those interesting mills were built on the spot where Trebišnica would lose its stream. In the first part of the setup, there are presented crafts, pottery, blacksmith, masonry, and shoemaking. Within the blacksmith craft, there are displayed decorative buttons and clasps that are representative specimens of our traditional culture. Traditional architecture of the rocky Herzegovina is presented with a model of a single-structure house, where the furniture of the old Herzegovinian houses is displayed. Interior of a city house from the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th. As a continuation of the ethnological setup, the exhibition Interior of a City House from the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th is placed in the attic of the building. Representative furniture in Altdeutsch style that used to be owned by Vojčić family from Lastva complements the setup. It is comprised of period furniture, 2 couches with recliners, armchairs, chairs with a small table, showcases and wardrobes. There is also displayed a table with an inlay that belonged to the family of the painter Atanasie Popović, as well as a vertical piano by Luka Ćelović Trebinjac. Cultural and historical development of Trebinje area from the 10th century to the first half of the 20th century. Permanent historical setup, cultural and historical development of Trebinje area from the 10th century to the first half of the 20th century is a complex exhibition that shows entire development of Trebinje and the Eastern Herzegovina from the 10th century to the beginning of the World War II. The exhibition is divided into 5 sections according to periods. In the first section, there is presented the medieval Travunia, the area of Trebinje, until the end of the 15th century, representation of the political, cultural, economic, and social development. Then the period of Ottoman reign from 1466 to 1878. The second section gives the representation of the political, cultural, economic and social development during the Ottoman occupation. In the third section, there are presented rebellions and uprisings against the Ottoman Empire, with an emphasis on the uprising by Luka Vukalović from 1852 to 1862 and the uprising of Nevesinje from 1875 to 1878. In the fourth section, there is presented the Austrian-Hungarian period from 1878 to 1918, and finally, the fifth presents the period of the kingdoms of Serbs, Croats and Slovenes, the Kingdom of Yugoslavia, from 1918 to 1941. The natural wealth of the Trebinje River Basin. The Museum of Herzegovina owns a natural history collection comprised of minerals, fossils, plants and animals coming from the region basin of the river Trebinje. Some species are very rare, threatened or extinct in our region. For instance, griffon vulture, human fish, brown bear and the like. The exhibits of the permanent setup are grouped according to the ecological categories and presented through the exhibit technique of ambient dioramas and showcases. Geology and paleontology, caves, forest animals, birds of prey, birds of karst fields, plants, rare endemic and relict species of Mount Orion, Orion mountain range, presentation, birds and mammals of aquatic habitats, fish, amphibians and reptiles. The collection of Jovan Dučić. This valuable art collection was donated and bequeathed by Jovan Dučić, a poet and diplomat of world renown, an aesthete, a lover of beauty, born in Trebinje, cosmopolitan in spirit. The collection contains valuable artistic items, 73 exhibits of stone plastic that are mostly comprised of parts of sarcophagi and sculptures with relief presentations of mythological and heroic scenes. The collection represents a beautiful style of classicism of the 1st and 2nd centuries AD and a Hellenistic ideal of joy of life, as well as decorative reliefs of church furniture from the Middle Ages, from the 9th to 12th centuries. Out of 14 art paintings of our and foreign artists, 2 are from the 16th century Spanish Correggios school. A Still Nature by Stojan Aralica, created in the spirit of coloristic expressionism of the early 1930s, an impressionist work by a Hungarian painter Daniel Michalek, a portrait of Dučić, which is a drawing by a Greek artist Costa Pitides of 1917, the portraits of Dučić's family, the work of Milivoje Uzelac. The pictures were made on canvas and cardboard in various techniques. The setup also has a mosaic, a work of a Central European artist from the beginning of the 20th century, a tapestry work from between the 17th and 18th century, a work of a Central European French workshop, a Japanese work on silk from the beginning of the 20th century. From Dučić's personal legacy, there are displayed ambassador suit, a dozen of decorations and photocopies of the poet's manuscripts. Memorial Exhibition of Atanasie Popović. The Memorial Exhibition of Atanasie Popović is a permanent setup, a gift by the artist's brother, M.A. Uroš Popović, to the city of Trebinje. The painter Atanasie Popović was born in Trebinje in 1885 and died and buried in Dubrovnik in 1948. He graduated at the Art Academy in Vienna in 1914 with highest marks and prizes. There are displayed 45 artistic paintings and drawings of this painter. The pictures carry stylistic features of academicism, social realism to impressionism, and the topics are mainly portraits, landscapes, still natures, work in the mines, marinas, urban motifs and interiors, while the techniques used are oil on canvas, tempera, watercolors, pastel and charcoal.